no, no. How many men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
When are you coming to see your kid?
While she talking, I just slid over next to her.
To let me finish?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You've never met him?
Never met.
We have never met.
Somebody would want to be around. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now. I'm talking now.
As much as I love this baby.
You just got them all messed up in the head.
Miss Nazarene was in court to drag her ex-boyfriend to the ground. She said he was nothing but a deadbeat father who caused her and her kids nothing but pain. This is definitely going to be one hell of an episode, trust me. Let's uncover the mysteries that lie within.
Ms. Nazarene, you are here today to sue your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Rami, for being an absentee father and a deadbeat dad. You say he has caused you and your two children much pain and suffering by never stepping up as their father. Mr. Rami, you claim Ms. Nazarene has done immeasurable damage to your life.
Miss Nazarene was a tigress who wasn't ready to go easy on anyone. She went on a rampage, explaining how useless Mr. Rami had been in her life and the lives of her kids. With that rant, I can bet she regrets getting into a relationship with him.
For the time that we were together, we were artists, and I was young, he was young, and he was my best friend. We tried to reconcile. He never, to this day, he's not kept a job. This man has spent 17 and 15, almost 16 years ignoring his children while trying to pursue a rap career. Okay, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Not trying to pursue his GED, not trying to get a high school diploma.
In Mr. Rami's defense, he claimed it wasn't his fault that he wasn't there to provide for her kids. Miss Nazarene took the kids far away from him, which made it impossible for him to be there for them. For some reason, I very much doubt that story.
Well, first of all, she decided to move to the other side of the country without talking to me about it.
Have you provided steady support?
Well, it depends on what steady is. No, I haven't sent a check every 2 weeks. No, I haven't. But when I've had a job, I have sent help. Whenever she's hit me up and asked for money, if I was able to
yes, every
help,
once in a while he sent $100. Yes, oh, absolutely. Over the past 17 and 16 years, he paid child support when he was with his ex-second wife.
I can't believe these two had children together. With the rampage of abuses that were flying around, they should have been locked up in the zoo. Miss Nazarene wasn't nice to Mr. Rami at all. Even when his brother lost his kid, she said the worst things.
We are sure happy to know your sorry, trifling family cares more about the dead than the living. And I will never forgive you, monster. You will get exactly what you evil people deserve. I ain't downplaying.
I'm not.
You trying to make me lose my youth because you're a deadbeat. I'm ready to smash you, monsters. Your family does not care about us because we're too black-skinned. You have to be a big, fat, yellow hoe to get love
and I mean it.
And care.
And that's the truth.
Oh, she got on the judge's nerves. Judge Lauren was so mad, you would think she was the one involved in the whole mess. Miss Nazarene was so out of control in her relationship, and no one seemed to be able to calm her down.
Somebody would want to be around.
Okay,
I mean, you're a beautiful lady, and I'm keeping it real with you.
He doesn't need to be around me.
There is no way you can send a text message about somebody burying someone that's
what the message was about.
You accuse them of caring more about a dead child than a living child.
Mr. Rami then decides to go down memory lane to explain how their relationship became a show that should be seen on Netflix. Boy, did he have a lot to say. He even made mention of the fact that Miss Nazarene punched him in the face and beat him up. Wow.
So when I take the car there, she wants to have a discussion with me. She wants to yell and argue with me.
Okay.
I'm not going through that anymore. So I tell her that I'm leaving. At this point, I'm living with my parents. Not quite sure how she heard my statement of I'm leaving, but she decided to punch me in the face.
Lie. That's a lie.
And
that's a lie.
After she punched me in the face, the exact quote, I'll never forget it, which was, hit me.
It was scolding time in the courtroom. The judge wasn't going to spare both Miss Nazarene and Mr. Rami. They both had faults, and either they fixed them or they walked out of each other's lives. It was nothing short of an endless drama with these two.
Did I ask you to let me finish?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. She's difficult, but I'm a mother, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want to see the day that the father of my child tries to come up short for my baby. It's not gonna happen. If there's anything that's gonna infuriate a mother, it's for somebody to give a mediocre effort when it comes to their kids.
It's high time we brought this paternity war zone to a close. It's been one tricky ride here, but all that suspense is about to be over. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
I would like you all to consider, along with your kids, if they will do it, family counseling, and this court will provide the resource, because my concern is that out of love and protection for your kids, you are doing the exact opposite of what you should be doing.
The results from this paternity court case were very critical. Miss Renfro was hell-bent on proving that Mr. Toozy was the biological father of her 6-month-old baby. Mr. Toozy, on the other hand, had denied the accusations. These two didn't place nice. Let's find out how it all started, shall we?
Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetically passed down by the defendant. And that's why today's paternity results are critical. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Renfro was filled with so much hurt and rage. Looking at her face, she was ready to lock Mr. Toozy in a box and throw the key in the ocean. What made her even more upset was the fact that Mr. Toozy had never seen her baby before. Now that's a lot to take in.
We talked about being in a relationship, and then when I found out I was pregnant, I took 7 pregnancy tests.
You discover you're pregnant.
Yes.
And at that point, you say Mr. Toozy just backed off.
Yeah, there was no contact after that. He ignored my calls, text messages, blocked me.
What happened the day you told him?
He didn't say nothing. He was like, well, who's the dad?
Mr. Rami tried to explain his doubts and reasons why he felt he couldn't be the father of the kid. His explanations made no sense and had zero relevance. It was almost as if the mic was given to a 5-year-old to speak. He said absolute rubbish, in my opinion.
I was with this girl for 5 years, and we was having unprotected sex, and I didn't get her pregnant. And not only that, about 2 years ago, me and my good friend, we had sex, and she got pregnant, and she tried claiming the baby was mine, and she got a DNA test, and it wasn't my baby.
But you do understand that despite all of that, it has zero relevance.
Like I said, Miss Renfro was hurt real bad. Her son had a medical condition at a very young age. She was mostly hurt because none of her other kids from her past relationships had such a disease. In her mind, she felt it had to come from Mr. Toozy.
The issues he has with his health, and he just needs to take responsibility for his child.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And when I do have sex with people...
Then why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
She details the number of times she has had to go to the hospital. Trust me, it's a lot of times. Her baby's condition is even worse than we thought. Mr. Toozy, he's still claiming the baby ain't mine because he's too light-skinned. Come on, Miss Renfro is literally light-skinned. This man has to be on something.
It's stressful. It's hard. My son has to see a surgeon twice a month. He's in and out of the hospital with infections in his intestines. And my son deserves to know who his dad is.
And it is zero
How come I wasn't
doubt
at the
in your
hospital
mind.
whenever you had the baby then?
Because you ignored my calls and text messages.
So, Ms. Renfro, there's zero doubt in your mind that your son's biological father is Mr. Toozy.
I'm 100% sure that he's the father.
Miss Renfro's best friend walked up to the stand to defend her friend. This part gets really confusing. It was pretty unclear if she was there to defend Miss Renfro or to open up her secrets to the judge. She had a lot to say.
Well, it was a little before she got pregnant.
The same person that signed the birth certificate.
It wasn't her ex. I think it was before. I'm pretty sure it was before you got pregnant.
Okay, well, who was it?
But point being,
that is my baby.
point being, they used protection and it was just one time. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not sure.
Well, guess what, people? Miss Renfro wasn't being straightforward this whole time. Mr. Toozy wasn't the only guy she was intimate with before she got pregnant. It sure looks like we can't trust any of what Mr. Toozy and Miss Renfro have been saying.
How many men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
One.
Testify to that.
One.
Okay. So what's the one your best friend remembers?
Okay, yeah, there was a dude before I got pregnant, but we did use a condom, and it was just once. And
okay.
It was way before I got
pregnant. And what
pregnant.
planet do you live on where condoms are 100% effective?
Well, it's finally time to unveil the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of reckoning is finally here with everyone itching to know the truth. Are you ready to find out? I bet you are, so take a deep breath because here it comes.
Mr. Toozy, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Calm down, Mr.
Calm down.
Toozy. Calm down. That's not your child's biological father.
That's fine.
All Miss Nelson wanted to do was get rid of the Fuller family's existence in her life and that of her baby. She allowed Mr. Fuller and her daughter to build the sweetest bond and now wants to rip her daughter out of his life. Will she be able to get away with it? Let's dive right into it and find out.
Mr. Fuller, you and your mother are here today to prove that you fathered the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Milani.
Yes, ma'am.
You say Ms. Nelson led you to believe that you were her daddy and build a strong relationship, but now wants to rip her away from you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Nelson, you acknowledge Mr. Fuller's relationship with your daughter, but say you are now certain that he is not your child's father and will prove it in court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jumping right into the drama of who called who and who didn't call who, Miss Nelson claimed that when she got pregnant, she reached out to Mr. Fuller, but he was nowhere to be found. Mr. Fuller's mom, on the other hand, had something else to say about all that.
I saw that he was on Facebook, and then I wrote him on Facebook.
You say you never called his mother.
Never called his mother. I didn't even have his mother's number.
She called my phone and said she was pregnant. When she had to go to appointments, she called and let us know too.
What appointment
I wouldn't tell no lie.
referring to?
We accept that baby from day one. From day one. Anything that you ask us to do for this
always
baby, we're there for this baby.
The courtroom was about to explode with both Miss Nelson and Mr. Fuller's mom yelling at the top of their voices. Miss Nelson claimed they never did anything for her baby, so their time in her life had come to an end. Come to an end? Trust me, I'm as confused as you are.
What you mean?
I don't know what
you mean?
Y'all ain't doing nothing for my child.
Wait, Miss Nelson.
Y'all ain't doing nothing for my child.
Let's get some order. Stop talking. Miss Nelson, as much as Miss Fuller is off the hook right now,
Like this.
I really can't blame her, because if I thought I had a grandchild, they spending a month at my house, whatever.
Her story started to deviate and some new confessions started to shake the walls of the courtroom. Apparently, Miss Nelson had a boyfriend while she was intimate with Mr. Fuller. In her defense, she said they were on a break.
Oh, before Mr. Fuller.
Me and the other guy was just on a break. So
you slept with Mr. Fuller when you were on a break from another guy.
Something that
Then
happened.
you and that guy got back together.
Really?
Right.
And at 5 months, you were with this other guy.
Right.
But then they came to see the baby and somehow—
Behind my back. I didn't even know they were in town.
Now that's just funny on all levels. On a break? Mr. Fuller's mom? Oh, she was here for the fight. She wasn't going to let anything or anyone come in the way of the child and her son, not even the mother of the child. I'm sure you're asking, who is really the owner of the child? Miss Nelson or Mr. Fuller's mom?
With me and with this boy. Let me tell you something. We love this baby.
You don't have, your son doesn't have her.
You know we
her.
love this
Your
baby.
child
You
does
know,
not,
Taquana, please. I don't even know why you
even have her. Your son, you have her. When I call, your son is not even there half the time when I call. Oh, she's with my mom. She's with my mom.
Skip to the part about presenting the evidence. There was some proof, all right. The proof showed where Miss Nelson told Mr. Fuller that they made a beautiful baby together. I smell something fishy, all right? If they made a beautiful baby together, why then is she saying Mr. Fuller isn't the father? Oh, things are about to pop, people.
We made a beautiful little angel. I love you, Milani. Then Mr. Fuller says, I know BM, our baby, very beautiful. Thank you. That must be thank you, BM, for Milani. BM is
Hey, mama and baby daddy.
Next page, Devontae Fuller sends a message, beautiful BM.
Things get really intense as Miss Nelson's mom walks into the courtroom. Mind-blowing revelation? She wasn't even on her daughter's side. She believed Mr. Fuller and his mom were right and that he was the biological father of the child. Miss Nelson sure has some explaining to do if you ask me.
The other guy.
The other guy.
When her and the other guy gets mad, it's Mr. Fuller's baby. When her and Mr. Fuller's not speaking, then it's the other guy's baby.
Oh, so she tells the other guy it's his baby too.
Well, the other guy said once before that it wasn't his baby.
So, Miss Nelson, do you believe he's not the father, or do you just not want him to be the father?
There's no point going on and on about it, people. These guys had one hell of a bumpy ride in their relationship. It's time to uncover the truth and find out who the real baby daddy is. I'm rooting for Mr. Fuller. Are you too? Well, let's find out.
Mr. Fuller, you are not her father.
I knew it. I knew I slept with. I knew it. I knew it.
I'm gonna take this baby from us.
I know it's tough, guys, but relax, please.
You should apologize regardless.
This was the battle of the ex-husband and the boyfriend. Sadly, in this situation, both the boyfriend and ex-husband believed they were the biological fathers of the child in question. I'm sure you can already guess how crazy this episode is going to be. Trust me, it's more than crazy.
You claim your wife, Ms. Burns, cheated on you with the man standing next to her.
Yes, Your Honor.
After only 3 months of marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then she left you to live with him, and now you say the paternity of your child is in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Burns, you believe that your boyfriend, Mr. Jones, could be your son's father, but confess you secretly hope.
Now, this was more than a complicated relationship for Mr. Powell and Mrs. Burns. Just 3 months into her marriage with Mr. Powell, she cheated on him and got into another relationship with her current boyfriend. Just 3 months? Damn, Miss Burns.
If she got upset with that person, she would do the exact same thing, come back to me and sleep with me.
Now, how long did this go on for?
For about a year.
You married her during this time, and you continually take her back.
That's right, because I love her from the bottom of my heart.
Ms. Burns.
Yes, Your Honor.
How does it feel to hear your ex-husband speak about you this way?
I know he loves me, but I don't think that we have the same feelings.
There was no goofing around, all right. Miss Burns didn't deny it at all. When Mr. Powell was asked how he found out she was messing with another guy, his answer did nothing but shock the entire courtroom. He said she told him herself. She has some serious balls, I'll give her that.
Mr. Powell called me and asked if anything had happened between me and Mr. Jones, and I told him yes, it had.
So wait a minute. Let me get down to the bottom of this. You're married to him for 3 months. When do you even meet Mr. Jones?
We have a child together. We have a 6-year-old together. So when the DNA come up for her and he come back the father to her, he wanted to meet her because he hadn't seen her pretty much her whole life.
The walls were definitely about to come down, crashing on Miss Burns. She had been very disloyal. There were so many lies and deceit in their marriage. And who was to blame for all that? You sure can bet it was Miss Burns. She lied to her new boyfriend about getting a divorce from Mr. Powell. Ouch!
She told me that her and Mr. Powell were actually getting divorced. She didn't want anything to do with him.
Where did you tell your husband you were?
We were not getting divorced. We were happy.
He was happy.
If this is happy, I don't want to see sad. Mr. Powell, what were you thinking?
I didn't know what to think. I called her the second day after she had left, and she straight out admits to me, yeah, I slept with Mr. Jones.
Wow.
It was mixed feelings for Mr. Powell when he found out she was pregnant. On one hand, he was super excited. He was gonna be a dad. On the other hand, his doubts were killing him. There was so much going on that he wasn't sure the child was going to be his. I feel sad for him, honestly.
Also, at the same time, I was kind of worried because I knew that she did have an affair with Mr. Jones. And, you know, he hasn't been a father to his 6-year-old child that she already had with him.
Well, that's because I didn't know I didn't have a child until 6 years later.
So, when Lucas was born, who was at the hospital?
My mother was.
As hurt as Mr. Powell was, he sure wasn't there to be made a fool of. He even took a lie detector test to prove that he was saying nothing but the truth. I hope Miss Burns has a comeback for this because she's gonna need a really good one.
Are you lying when you said you had sex with Ashley Burns in the last 30 days? You answered no.
That's right.
Which meant you had sex and you weren't lying.
Yes, we did.
The lie detector determined you were telling the truth.
Now what? What do you have to say now?
So what are you gonna say?
Oh, things took a real turn for Miss Burns in the courtroom. They both finally realized that she had been lying to them. What happened next? It was a tag team, people. The ex-husband and boyfriend versus Miss Burns. She definitely wasn't expecting that, if you ask me.
It's because she's lying to both of us. That's what's been going on the whole time.
I so agree with you, man, because the main reason why I actually left Miss Burns is because she cheated on me way back when, and that is the reason why I didn't know the 6-year-old could have been mine. That's why I needed the DNA test to figure that out. So now, I just don't know what to do.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Powell, the new boyfriend, and Miss Burns. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks!
Mr. Jones, you are his father.
Sorry, man, I was rooting for you, bro. I'm still gonna love the kid no matter what. We actually been talking.
So if we wasn't together, so then how did I cheat?
And you just told me less than, what, 3 or 4 days ago that you didn't want to be with anybody?
What is this that you perpetrating on these two men? I mean, you just got them all messed up in the head.
Their marriage was beyond fractured, and it needed a sprinkle of that paternity court repair potion. The result of the test was the only saving solution for Mr. and Mrs. McClung. Did they get what they wanted? Well, let's dive into the saga of marriage suspense.
Mrs. McClung, you are here to prove to your now husband that he is the biological father of your 4-year-old daughter, Desire. You claim this paternity issue has fractured your marriage and you need today's results to repair the break in your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trust me, you could see that their marriage was on the verge of coming to a sad end. There were so many doubts about the paternity of the child, and Mr. McClung was definitely not ready to raise another man's baby.
I love my family, I really do, but I cannot keep living without knowing if she's mine or not. So, yeah, we was messing around when we first started seeing each other. We was just like friends with benefits. We weren't in a serious relationship. We weren't really together. It was actually the night of her birthday. While she talking, I just slid over next to her.
Their marriage took a nosedive for the worst. They had so many issues while they were initially together. It was so bad that you would literally ask why they even got married in the first place. The things they said were just out of this world.
And I feel like this. She probably was thinking that I wasn't ready to settle down, and she probably didn't want to let me know about the baby.
I didn't have time for the back and forth between me and Chris, to be honest. He blocked me on Facebook and everything.
Oh, so now we're getting the real story. So you have sex for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden he disappears.
Right.
And you get blocked on Facebook.
Right.
Oh, so you think he ghosted you?
Right, basically.
Now, when Mrs. McClung found out she had a baby inside of her, she didn't reach out to her husband. There's only one question ringing in everyone's mind right now. Why did you not tell your husband you were pregnant? Why keep it a secret? In her defense, she claimed she had no way of reaching out to him.
I had no way to get in contact with Chris. Once Chris left at the end of August and he cut off contact with me, I just went ahead and let it be what it was. And I just went with the fact that I said that the guy on the 5th was the baby, dad. So when Chris asked me, once he finally showed up 2 years later, if she was his, I told him no.
Now, when Mr. McClung finally found out about the baby, he decided to ask his beloved wife if the kid belonged to him. Now hold up, because you're about to be shocked. She replied to him by saying the baby wasn't his. Oh, Mrs. McClung is one funny ass woman, trust me.
So I got to, I'm like, well, can I walk around the neighborhood and ask?
Actually, he didn't ask.
Hold on, wait, what?
He actually didn't ask. He just walked off with her. He just walked off with her.
Now, Jerome, I ain't never heard of such. Somebody says, this is my baby. They said, no, well, hold on, can I walk around the neighborhood and ask?
He didn't even ask.
It's not funny, but it is absolutely ridiculous.
Don't get it wrong. Mrs. McClung definitely cared about her child. In her defense, she was only looking out for her little angel. She said she didn't want to introduce her daughter to someone who wasn't going to be stable in her life. Well, I can understand that.
That's the last thing I want. I don't want to have to be the one to wipe her face because somebody's here 1 minute and not there the next.
So the truth is it was a defense mechanism.
Yes.
And you just said, you know what, no, she's not yours. Because what you were really afraid of is that he would do to your daughter what he did to you.
Right.
Mr. McClung's cousins stepped onto the podium and dropped some heavy truth bombs in the courtroom. It was revelation time, people. All the time Mr. McClung was away, his wife was messing around with another guy, and the daughter was calling that guy dad. Oh, there's a whole new story in the mix right there.
And I end up seeing the baby and her and another dude outside, and they was hugged up and kissing, and Desire was calling him daddy. I mean, the thing about it is at the end of the day, if Chris cared that much, he wouldn't have just left and just not even had a piece of contact information for him. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, what I was doing, the person that I was talking to at that time, that was all Desire knew.
Well, there's no going back now. The situation is just very messed up, but the truth is about to be unleashed. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Will they be able to save their marriage, or is this goodbye? The answers lie in front of the judge. The answers lie in.
Mr. McClung, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's cool, because no matter what, she got me. They all got me.
Thank you for that, Mr. McClung.
Can I go see my baby?
Oh, honey. We want to give him a minute.